3, 2, and 1. Warner Brothers may have to sell its video games, and that may actually be the best thing. This is a cow's opinion, and today we are looking at companies, because of course, who wants to talk video games? This is now a stock channel, guys. It's not really a stock channel, but if you haven't been paying attention, the market has fallen a lot as companies are really worried about a possible recession and about overspending after the pandemic. And Warner Brothers is one of those companies that's really been in a rut lately. They have been falling way behind other traditional media companies like Fox, like the Disney conglomerate, like NBC, and really they're in a lot of trouble because recently, today even, when I say recently, they announced that their broadcasting business had to take a $9 billion write-down. That's $9 billion with a B. Which means that they thought it was worth $9 billion more dollars than it actually is. That's not good. It has been cratering the stock price. Let me show you. So just from the last month, you can see it went way up as there were rumors that it was starting to go better. But it could not break out of this $8 range, and it's pretty much back to what it was at the beginning of the month. Year to date tells a terrible story. It's been cut almost in half year to date, guys. It was up here at $11.35. It closed today at $7.71. And then after hours, they had their earnings where they announced that their broadcast stuff was $9 billion less valuable than they thought, and it went down 10%. A tenth of it dropped in just a few hours. So that's really bad. Now, Financial Times is reporting that Warner Brothers Discovery has been deciding that they might have to sell some or all of a stake in their video game business to prop up the stock price and raise cash. There's been a 70% decline in their price since Warner Media and Discovery merged back in 2022. And when you do a merger, losing 7 out of 10 of your value is not what people consider good. It's thinking of selling Polish broadcaster TVN or a stake in its video games arm, home to a dozen studios including Avalanche, which made Hogwarts Legacy, Rocksteady, which made Suicide Squad, TT Games, which is Lego, NetherRealm Studios, which is the awesome Mortal Kombat that's been doing really well, Monolith Pictures, which is Middle-earth Shadows of War. By the way, not them, but Warner Brothers sucks because they used other people's ideas to build their Nemesis system and then said no one's allowed to copy any part of it. That sucks. And Warner Brothers Games Montreal, who made Gotham Knights. Now, I want to point something out. Really great game, really bad game. Really great games, really great game. Really good game, really bad game. So the two more live service games are not good. Everything else that is playable on its own is really good. Now, just last month, they announced that they acquired Player First Games, which is making their multiplayer fighter Multiverses, which is basically just Smash Brothers, but with WBD characters. But they have not announced for how much they paid for it. Now, Warner Brothers Discovery exec J.B. Perrette said earlier this month that the company's game business revolves around 4 main properties, which each of them is a billion-dollar business. It's Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, which is weird because if you notice, we didn't really show any Game of Thrones games, DC Comics, and Harry Potter. Now, last year, 2023, Harry Potter's Hogwarts Legacy was the best-selling game of the year. Tens of millions of copies. But Warner Brothers has taken a $200 million loss on this year's once highly anticipated Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now, CEO David Zaslav, all-around meh human being, has said the company has been focusing on trying to turn its biggest franchises from largely console and PC-based with 3 to 4 year release schedules to include more always-on gameplay through live services, multi-platform, and free-to-play extensions, with the goal to have more players spending more time on more platforms. Now, what is the cow's opinion? We should all be so lucky if Harry Potter and Mortal Kombat and other of these things get to go be free. Because here's the thing. Hogwarts Legacy was 2023's best-selling game. Why was it such a good game? Because it was given time. care, polish. They didn't care about putting in a bunch of microtransactions. Suicide Squad has been probably the most disappointing release of this year. Why? Because it was free to... It was games as a... It wasn't free to play. Excuse me. That's the sad thing. It was not free to play, although with the monetization model, it probably should have been just like Fortnite. It was a games as a service garbage with maybe 8 to 10 hours of content max. Then you had to wait 3 months for a character to release for another 1 to 2 hours of content. They're trying to nickel and dime you constantly. They did the same thing with Gotham Knights, just not great games. When you make a game with the purpose of being a good game, you can make a beautiful game. When you make a game with the purpose of how do I get a player all of their time onto this thing and I can just charge them constantly. Well, guess what? The gameplay isn't your priority. It's how do I monetize their time. And that is why most of those games suck. There's a reason why games as a service like Suicide Squad haven't traditionally done very well. Again, if your priority is to take all the players' time and a lot of the money, the gameplay loop is going to be weighted towards that and not the fun. Not to mention, these games usually only have between 10 and 15 hours available at launch. You can blow through them in a day if you're dedicated. And then what? You got to wait 3, 6, 12 months for the next major update? You just can't make enough content. The reason why Fortnite dodges this is because it's multiplayer with Battle Pass. And even though it's not perfect, you're constantly just playing and having fun. It captures the 15 seconds of fun really well. Suicide Squad and Gotham Knights did not capture they tried to have story and all this other stuff, but really the multiplayer is an afterthought, and it's the multiplayer that usually carries these types of games. When you try to have these games with a long, deep, rich, beautiful story, you can't do it. It gets blown through. It's like, well, what's next? What do you mean I gotta wait? I don't want to play this game. And then, the number of players you get will dip huge. So anything that gets freaking Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, the DC stuff, and Harry Potter, anything that gets these guys out of the WB ecosystem and lets them be actual games again. Because right now it's like, honestly, I don't think they got the message, because Zaslav said it down here, as we saw. And then he was also saying the lesson he learned from Harry Potter selling huge last year and Suicide Squad selling poorly this year is we need to make a Harry Potter that's a games as a service game. No, you idiot. You need to make a Suicide Squad that was like Harry Potter, a really fun game. You're dumb. I don't know how this man has a job when he's presided over a massive stock decrease, and I believe this man has given himself a raise. So yeah, in retrospect, Zaslav is an idiot, and Warner Brothers may be getting out of the video game business. And for these studios, this isn't like the Endeavor saga where these places are going to close. These are actual great studios with good pedigrees. A couple of them have had some recent poor ones, but overall, all of them are pretty good. They should be so lucky to get spun off and made independent or bought by somebody else who's going to let these guys actually make great games. Guys, let me know in the comments below, which studio would you want to saved most of all? I would be happy to interact with you on that. Thank you so much for watching, and you know what else you can do when you're leaving that comment, liking this video, and subscribing. You can play more games, because games are awesome, you're awesome, and you deserve awesome. I'll see you next time. Seriously, how does Zaslav have a job still? It's one of those questions. Why is water wet? Why are politicians dumb? How does Zaslav have a job? There's just no right answer.